Welcome to another edition of Yacht Life Chronicles, where we are better together than separated. How you guys doing out there? Hope you're having a wonderful day today. We got a special guest in the building today. He goes by the name of Kentae Parker. He's the CEO of Radiant Thoughts Podcast. Very brilliant, very intellectual, uh, very precocious brother. You know what I'm saying? As I listened to his conversation, um, I said to myself, he before his time. So I wanted to bring him into the show today. Talk about a little bit of his coming up. Talk about Radiant Thoughts podcast, and just get to know Kentae Parker. So how you doing, Kentae?
I'm doing good, man. I appreciate that intro. I love that.
Man, no doubt, man. You deserve it, man. So to the viewers out there, for the ones that don't know you, you want to fill them in on who you are and what it is that you do?
Yeah, man. So, like you said, name Kentae Parker, CEO, Radiant Thoughts Podcast, where, I speak to, more so speak to young adults that's coming into adulthood, just like me, sharing my similar stories and the stuff that I see that might help other young adults my age, or even, just my age range, maybe older, maybe younger, born and raised Saginaw, Michigan. So I'm from the same thing everybody else from, and I just want everybody to know that we can is other avenues that we can take than what we accustomed to. So that's my main focus.
That's what's up. So what made you call it Radiant Thoughts Podcast?
So when I was looking into like titles and stuff and thinking of stuff, like I just thought about how like the sun kind of just radiates its energy everywhere, and then it's also radiant, being that it's bright. And so I'm like, okay, how can I spin that into being something that's like positive? So I'm like, bright ideas, and I'm like, what about radiant ideas? And then radiant being like big and bright ideas and like stuff that's just above, as well as radiating them and just like spreading them out, like how the sun just radiates everywhere. So I'm like, that's kind of because the sun hit everywhere pretty much. And so I'm like, I want to have that same type of vibe with the podcast. So I thought it was kind of a fitting title for me.
So what inspired you to start Radiant Thoughts?
Uh, for the most part, it was kind of initially what I wanted to do with it was just highlight the stuff that was going on in Saginaw while I was still there, and then like highlight the good stuff that was going on that didn't get a spotlight. But as I grew and got older, a little bit older, and I started to see different things, I would just see how when I started to change kind of like what I was interested in and certain stuff and how it helped me for the better, I wanted that for other people as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of led me to take the path that I did, as opposed to what I was thinking about doing at first, which I still do some of the similar stuff that I wanted to do, but just more so just about the stuff that I seen every day at home and how I could take it and make it spin off to be better for the rest of us.
That's what's up. So Radiant Thoughts is just completely out of your personality. You don't have any partners that you're dealing with, any co-owners or anything?
No, well, I got my girlfriends on it with me, but I started it solo though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So since you've been doing your pod, and how long have you been doing it?
It's been about 6 months now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep going, man. Keep going.
Yeah.
So can you share a memorable moment or an episode from your podcast that really resonates with you?
I would say I did one with one of my friends, Javaris Jackson. I had him on the podcast, and the title is titled "Cost of Success," and we just kind of discussed what it took to get to where he's at now. And I feel like during that episode, I feel like I had the most connection in that episode, and we were just kind of like flowing, and the things that we discussed, it just was kind of like it just was real free flowing to where it really it resonated with me, and it like that's been my favorite moment hands down since I started it, because like everything that I thought about was like coming out of somebody else's mouth. And I'm like,
Right.
that's crazy to be on the same wavelength with somebody like that. And that probably was my favorite one for sure.
Most definitely, man. So, how do you choose your topics or guests for each podcast on Radiant Thoughts?
So normally I kind of just sit down and come up with just think about some topics that I might, could talk about. Like I got a whiteboard full of topics over here. And I just do research too. I see what's being talked about online and try to just see where I can pull some inspiration from or pull some ideas from. So I kind of just see what's going on Facebook or on Instagram and just kind of pull from everything that I can see. But most of the time, I kind of just try to sit and come up with my topics. And for my guests, I try to find guests that are doing something like, cause I grew up listening to music and like the sports and stuff. I'm big on that, but I wanted to try to highlight people that were doing stuff other than that to show that sports and entertainment isn't like the only ways out, just so we can see other examples of people doing like business stuff or people just doing regular jobs that are better than what everybody grew up in Saginaw that I knew worked in the plant. So like stuff that wasn't the plant, or just things like that, just show different avenues. So that's how I try to find my guests and to see just, what they're talking about so they can get a perspective on the things that they do.
Okay. So, what do you what do you hope your listeners take away from listening to your podcast?
The main thing I want them to be able to take away is that you can change your life with really the information that I kind of try to give out. You can, because that's the same way I was able to change my thought process and stuff. It's more out there than what we accustomed to mainly. That it's a lot more than what we see on a day to day.
So, how has hosting Radiant Thoughts influenced your own thoughts and perspectives about life?
Man, it has a lot because you do research and stuff while you trying to figure stuff out, and there's a lot of stuff that I've learned doing research that has changed what like I might have thought about something. Like I just did an episode earlier, I recorded, and my girlfriend came and said something that I hadn't even had no clue about. So now you get new information, and now you got to go research it and figure new stuff out. And so it really changed your perspective on a lot of things because you start learning more stuff. And it's interesting when you go through it because you're not stuck with your own reality no more. You realize that it's more out there.
So, because you're dealing with a lot of education,
Mm-hmm.
you conveying education to the world. I love your mind, man. I love your radiant thoughts, man. You got a
Appreciate it.
beautiful personality. How
Appreciate it.
does your college experience and the education that you have developed help you to play into your podcast as far as impacting it and giving you the tenacity to be able to do it?
Yes, that's a good question. So with the college aspect of it, I can pull from there because I kind of had the experience. And so having those experiences gave me let me be able to tell my kind of story with the situation. So like the classes I took, like I took a couple like writing and composition classes, and I'm realizing how those are, helping me with the podcast stuff, and then just building relationships throughout college helped me build relationships through the podcast and stuff. And so like that really has played a big role in developing this and doing this, because I feel like if I didn't take that step, I probably wouldn't do some of the stuff that I'm like doing now, or have some of the thought processes that I have now, because I learned to kind of critical think more in college and just be more of a, be more curious about stuff, because I had to in college. If you wanted to get by, you had to pay, you had to do a little bit more than what was really expected to really get by. And so that, I think the college college helped me a lot dealing with, you know, the podcast game for sure.
Right. So, do you think self-education has got you a lot further than your academic education have, or do you think your academic education has got you a lot further and not the self-education?
Um, I would say it's a mixture of both, but I lean more towards experiences. So like the self-educating, you know, I think is more important. Now the academic is cool, but they don't teach you everything. You know, when you got to get out and really navigate life every day, it's completely different than what you get taught in school
Right.
in the books. So I feel like, you know, they kind of call it what having street smarts and then school smarts type of thing. I think it's necessary to have like street smarts, and I think ultimately, because once you, I don't just say it's more important and like completely, but it's necessary to have when you out. You know, I think it can help you get a little bit further than just being, you know, school smart and super naive.
Right.
You
And
know,
just having that common sense.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So, I wanted to ask you some questions, man,
Yeah.
that deal with radiant thoughts.
Okay.
You know, so, and one of the first things I want to ask you is, what strategies or practices do you personally use to cultivate radiant thoughts in your daily life? You know,
Uh,
say for instance, if you're going through some adversity, or if you're going
mm,
through some type of uh, some type of atrocity, that's
right.
some type of calamity that's going on in your life. Like, how do you still maintain radiant thoughts to be able to weave your way up out of that?
Yeah, so mainly just the first thing I do before I just react, I kind of just sit and think about what's going on. I take in everything that's going on like around me and really like think about it before I just react. And
Mm,
so, and like the episode that I release tomorrow, we call it the power of the tongue, and just knowing how words and certain actions can really hurt or help a situation. And so before I react with, if something is negative, before I just react with instant negative, you know, thoughts back to it, I check myself always. Like before I just jump right in the water, I step back and just evaluate the whole situation before I keep going. So like whenever I hit adversity, like I always, my thing is to always keep going through adversity though, because you
right.
can't ever stop. Because if you stop, you know, you done for at that point. But in the midst of you going forward, it's like really sit back and think about what's going on as you really like trying to maneuver through it, but you can't never stop. So it's more so just like kind of step back and see what's going on, you know, read the
Right.
situation before you keep going forward.
And I can understand what you're saying about, like, you know, not reacting, you know, because 80% of life is not what happens to us, but how we
Mhm.
react to things.
Right.
You know, and like you said, you know, you have to take that moment where you have to take a step back. And I
Absolutely.
was taught that you need to, that in those most trying and most heated times, you know, you need to step outside of yourself 3 feet away, and you need to look back at yourself.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? To see what
Yeah.
kind of person, what kind of what kind of person, you know, you the disposition that you laying down.
Right.
You know, and it just gives you a way to observe yourself. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? In order to help make yourself better at
Yeah.
the end of the day, instead of just being in this heated or this trying time, and here it is, you just trying to prove a point. Instead
Right.
of stepping outside yourself to look back at the person and say, "Listen, man, calm down, man.
Right.
Listen,
Yeah.
you ain't got to do all that, you know." You know, but you know, I like I say, like, I love your radiant thoughts, man. I love the way you think, man, because you know, we need more people like you. You know what I'm saying? We need more people to
Appreciate it.
have more vibrant thoughts like you have. We need more people to be free within their thinking. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
for sure.
saying? I tell people all the time, people be like, it's too many podcasts out there. I say, no, it's not. It's not enough.
Not enough.
It's not enough. Because if you sitting back talking about it's too many and you ain't got them, it's not enough.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, you can't get in nobody's way with this.
Nope.
And it gives us all an opportunity to promote somebody or
Exactly.
something,
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying, that has never been promoted, or be able to bring a voice that has never been heard before, you
Absolutely.
know. And that's the thing about that I love about these podcasts and the nuances of them is that they're so different. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? Dealing with the personality of the individual.
Right.
So how important do you think self-awareness is in maintaining radiant thoughts, and how can one develop it?
Yeah, self-awareness is the key to everything. You kind of gotta know. You gotta know yourself. Because if you don't know yourself, essentially you don't know nothing. Now you might not fully understand yourself. We change every day. But I think having self-awareness and knowing what is going on around you or what you are involved in, it shapes your reality almost, in my opinion. And to how to build it, you really have to like, look in the mirror and understand your flaws and see what's going on with you to be able to correct, whatever wrongs you do have, or check yourself to be able to become more self-aware. You gotta, if you like, sometimes I like to even like meditate and just sit with my thoughts and see what's going on, or even write your thoughts down and just become super aware with what you're doing. I think that comes with like discipline as well, just putting yourself through certain like situations to make sure I can handle this, or I got this type of strength, or just to just see where yourself at. You got to challenge yourself sometimes on purpose to
Yeah.
just see where you are in certain situations. I feel like, so that help builds it, in my opinion.
So you saying, putting yourself in those uncomfortable positions, that's
Yeah,
what's
for
gonna
sure.
build you up more than,
Hmm.
always being in those comfortable positions.
Yeah, 'cause nothing
You
grow
know,
out of comfort.
yeah, because and the thing about that is that a lot of people love comfort, but I tell them like this: you want to be comfortable with the uncomfortable, because
Hmm.
once you then defeated a challenge, now you're looking on to the next challenge. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? And you study building that endurance, and you study building up that tenacity to keep fighting through these challenges.
Right.
But if you never been put in an uncomfortable position, if you don't like challenges, then you can't really see your greatest potential.
Right. Exactly. That's.
You can, like you were saying, you got to know yourself. And the greatest way to know yourself is to know who you are in adversity.
Hmm. Cause that's who you really are when everything's stripped away, and you see
Mhm.
you for who you really is. That's when like, all right, am I really who I think I am, or am I not?
Right.
That's when
And
it's.
that's when you realize, do the material things in the world make me, or do this make me?
Exactly.
Because your thoughts are things. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? And you have to be careful how you think, what you allow your mind to ponder on for hours,
Hmm.
because those thoughts sooner or later is going to become behavior.
Yep.
They're going to come to fruition if the seed is planted enough, and
Yep.
if you water that seed enough. So
Yep.
I tell everybody, man, be careful. Learn how to switch the channel of your thoughts, and know how to deal with your thoughts, and know that your thoughts are things, to the point where you're able to have productive and positive thoughts, as to
Right.
where you can carve out your piece of you can carve out your
Right.
exponential growth,
Yeah.
and you can carve out your piece of gold in this world.
Absolutely. Yeah. That like, and that what you said as far as like having that. I look at it as having you know, the discipline to just be able to cut out the things that don't really resonate with how you really think. Because certain things like I could listen to now and it kind of throw my vibe completely off, and I know that ain't for me, and I might be fertilized in the area that I don't want to grow. You know, I'm trying
Right.
to heal that grass over there to grow some new grass. And so you got to really pay attention to what you intaking, and that's been like my main focus. Like,
What you depositing.
yeah, for
You
sure.
have to be real careful what you deposit into you. Depositing into you. Dealing with people, what you reading, you know, these algorithms, these YouTube. You know, one of the funniest things to me, Kentae, is to see these people on social media and they're not following nobody.
Yeah.
They got 6, 7, 8, 10,000 followers and they following nobody.
Nobody.
So what happens with that algorithm is that anything pops up in that algorithm. I love Robert Greene. I love the author James Allen. I like Michael Jordan. I like positive. I like optimism.
Yeah.
You know, so my algorithm is that's what it's filled with because that's what I like, and those are the people that I follow. So I really think people hurt themselves when they don't follow the things that they like, especially with they spending so much time on social media. Because you don't want anything to be pushed up in your algorithm, and then like you said, those seeds are being cultivated.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You have a lot of cult leaders out here today.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So like I said, you want to build up your mind to be as strong as possible. And you want to delve into the things that you like and get with the likes of your own kind. Get with the people. You might not be in their presence, but y'all on the internet, you in the algorithm every day.
Right. Yep. I think it's like just like you said, following the certain people that like I went through my followers list and seeing the stuff that I was following. I unfollowed a lot of things because I'm like, it don't even resonate with me no more. I gotta follow, like you said, the optimism, the stuff that's gonna get my mind to where I want it to be. And not with just a bunch of like full of a bunch of just BS, because all that stuff it just sit there on your brain and you got a bunch of useless information a lot of times that you can't even really do nothing with. So that's why you really gotta, you know, kind of create your own bubble when it comes to what you want inside of here, because what you keep in this like the most important part of your body almost, you know, between this and the heart. So it's like you wanna be careful what you put into it.
Yep. Yep. So you got to know how to diet. You know what I'm saying? You got to be putting the right nutrition in there.
Yeah. Literally.
So listen, can you share any insights or experiences where intentionally cultivating radiant thoughts has led to positive outcomes in your life?
I would say just with the podcast that we were all on with Coach Marshall on More Than Coach podcast, I feel like that like it led to this. We you know, we're talking on the podcast now, and just in that when we filmed that at that point in time, I wasn't going to release an episode that the next Sunday, because I just felt like I had nothing to really like talk about, and like just being on there with y'all gave me inspiration. Just basically hearing you talk, like how we got to just keep going, you know. And I'm like, nah, I got to get out there, and it just like clicked for me, and I had something, you know, to go record. So just in that moment, I'm like, I got inspiration from being around other people, and all this came from starting Radiant Thoughts. You know, I'm able to meet new people that I haven't even met that did certain things that I had no clue about. So, and I think just being able to build those connections and stuff, kind of like the best thing that I've, you know, experienced so far with Radiant Thoughts.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, you know, and because when I came in the game, I was like, man, I'm a podcast with all my friends, my family, and this gonna go up. Next thing I know, they was like, I don't want to be on that camera.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, I can't interview you. They was like, no. I'm like, you know how Saginaw people is. You know, Saginaw
Uh,
kind of hard, you know, because it ain't really cool to be, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like
for
a lot of
sure.
people, like they really just started coming around as far as being in front of the camera and talking and
Mm-hmm.
doing these interviews. Because when I first started, man, it was hard, man. It was hard to get people to do an interview, especially in this city. You
Yeah,
know, but like I said, me doing it in Atlanta, you know, it was so popular and it was so much it was so open with the cameras. It was lights, camera, action down there.
yeah.
So it wasn't hard to get anybody on the camera,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But definitely keep going, man. You have a wonderful thing that you're doing, man. I really love that title, Radiant Thoughts,
Yeah,
man. I just think that it definitely beautifies the podcast world.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it for sure.
Yeah. So you know, y'all like Chronicles, man. You know, we ask some ludicrous questions, man, just to, get to know you. So we're gonna ask you some facetious things about your podcast, man, and we're gonna go down the line and we're gonna wrap this show up.
All right.
So thing I wanna ask you is if you could have any famous cartoon character as a co-host for an episode, which one would it be and why?
Ooh, any famous cartoon character as a co-host? That's a good one. I was a cartoon head coming up. I'm. It's probably gonna be crazy, but I had Shaggy from Scooby Doo because that was my dog. Cause he just funny,
You and
man.
Shaggy hosted the show.
Yeah, Shaggy funny. That's my dog.
All right. What would you rather have? Would you rather have a podcast where you're interviewed? Would you rather have a podcast where you interview talking to animals or aliens from outer space? What would you rather
Hmm.
have?
I'm gonna say animals. I love animals. And they every morning you wake up, you hear birds chirping and stuff. I be wondering what they be talking about. My dog used to bark all day and night, and I want to know what she barking at, what she talking about.
Yeah, so
I
you
wanna,
want to know what's on her mind, huh?
yeah, I want to know. I don't know if I want to deal with the aliens. They might be on some crazy stuff.
They might try to take you back
Yeah,
with
I don't want that.
them. So if radiant thoughts were a flavor of ice cream, what would it taste like?
Ooh, flavor of ice cream. I'm gonna go sherbet. I
Okay.
like sherbet. That's it ain't my favorite, but it kind of it when you first said ice cream, and that's the first thing I thought about when compared to
Sherbet
radiant.
ice cream.
I'm gonna say sherbet.
Okay. So if your podcast had a theme song performed by a famous musician, who would you choose to sing it and what would be the lyrics?
Oh, what would be the? You know what? So my favorite song, I ain't gonna say it's my favorite song, but one of my favorite songs, I call it like my theme song, is King Kunta by Kendrick Lamar. So that probably would be the song, just because it did that. My name is Kentae. I got called Kunta Kentae my whole life. So that would have to be my go-to, because it's just like, and then what do he say? Where was you when I was walking now, run the game, got the whole world talking, King Kunta. So it's like it kind of just fit. It fit, you know what I'm saying?
Right, it fit right in.
And then the next, if it would be Jay-Z, You Don't Know. That's like my favorite Jay-Z song. So just because, like I've gotten that in this thing, like, why is you doing this? Or you don't even know what you're really doing. And so to show you, like, nah, I know what I'm doing. And that's just my favorite Jay-Z song too. So, well, one of my favorites. So that's, I probably have to go with You Don't Know for sure.
Right. Okay. So if you could interview a historical figure on Radiant Thoughts, who would be your top three picks and what would you ask them about maintaining Radiant Thoughts in their time periods?
Mm. My first one probably be Malcolm X, because I I kind of I just always liked the way he thought and how he articulated himself. I had the chance to listen to his daughter speak about him, and so I'm real interested in Malcolm X. Um, I would want to talk to Muhammad Ali, just because he just took activism and boxing, and he stayed true to himself in that whole situation that he was in, and going from Cassius Clay to Muhammad Ali, just that whole thing is always been interesting to me. And a third one, let me think. I would say it would have to be Kobe Bryant. I'll take Kobe just because I want to know his thought process, because that Mamba mentality is different.
Yeah.
So I would want to learn from that and be able to take that and apply some of that stuff in my life. So I would definitely, because he ain't let nobody get inside of him. Like, nothing.
Dog Kobe ain't let nobody get inside his head.
Yeah, so it had to be the Mamba.
So if you could swap bodies with any celebrity for a day and record an episode of Radiant Thoughts in their shoes, who would it be and why?
Ooh. I'm gonna go LeBron. LeBron James. That's my dog.
LeBron on Radiant Thoughts for a day?
Bring Brian on Radiant Thoughts, man. Because I played basketball all my life growing up. So even though this ain't a sports podcast, just because he just started a podcast talking about sports, and his mind when he breaking down the game is like crazy. So I would want to get understand that. Like, how do you even keep all that stuff inside of your head when it comes to it? He really a master of his craft. And I would have to see about that, because that's how he do his stuff is crazy. So yeah, I had to bring Brian on the podcast.
Right. So if you were stranded on a desert with only one episode of Radiant Thoughts to listen to, which episode would you choose and why?
Stranded on a desert, one episode. Which episode would I use? It would probably be. I would probably use the one me and Javaris Jackson, the Cost of Success one, just because we were talking about how he came out of certain adversities or something, or the stuff that we seen going on in Saginaw, stuff that we kind of might have dealt with or been around, and how he overcame it. And me being stranded on the island, I would be trying to overcome that. So I need to hear something that would coincide with what I'm dealing with in the current situation. So that probably would be what I use for sure.
Okay. So would you rather have a podcast where every episode is recorded in a different location, like underwater or outer space, or with a different accent?
I would do different location. I like that different accent though. That's kind of cool. But different location. I like traveling anyway, so I would like to see the different places and then it'll bring more, it'll bring a nice little appeal, because people be able to see what's in the background, what's going on. So
right.
Yeah, I do that one for sure.
Right. All right. Last one. If Radiant Thoughts had a mascot, what would it be, and what antics would it get up to do? What antics would you get it up to do during your podcast recordings?
So on my shirts that I got a little light bulb, so that probably would be, and then that's just the light radiating off of it. So it probably have to be a light bulb, and how I would probably use it is the movie Don't Be a Menace, and how anytime they said something, he'll pop up and say message. So anytime a little gem drop, I have it pop up in the screen or something, or pop up and just light up or something. That's probably
right. Like message.
Yeah. That's probably how I use it for sure.
Right. Man, this has been fun, man, with you today, man. And I really want to thank you, man. Thank you for letting YFC do this interview with you, man.
Definitely. I appreciate it.
And like I say, we need more people like you, man. We need more people that have your kind of personality. So before we get out of here, man, just make sure you give them your Instagram and let them know about any upcoming shows that you got.
All right, yeah. So I appreciate you having me on too. But
thank you.
You can follow me on It's Radiant Thoughts _ on Instagram. Every episode drops on Sundays at 12 o'clock Eastern time. So we dropping tomorrow at 12 o'clock, so noon. And yeah, I like this next episode we got coming out. I think it's a good episode that anybody could, listen to and take from. So, but yeah, Radiant Thoughts _ on everything, and that's on Facebook, on Instagram, and then YouTube is just Radiant Thoughts. So yeah, and every Sunday at 12. So yeah, I appreciate you having me on here, man. I like the questions. I ain't never got asked some of them.
One thing about y'all life, man, we're gonna get to know you on this show.
Yeah, for
You know
sure.
what I'm saying? And like I say, man, we'll be definitely doing this again, man. I would
Definitely
like to
sure.
interview you again.
For sure.
But to my viewers out there, those thought vibrations, because we talking about thoughts today, having Radiant Thoughts on the show. Those thought vibrations that you have can take you higher than what you think.
Absolutely.
Those thought vibrations are likened to an airplane, as to where when the airplane leaves the ground and the higher you go up, you don't see the houses, the trees, you don't see nothing no more.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts are the same way. Your thoughts are just like this airplane. As you go up, you flying over all your limitations in life.
Absolutely.
Your thoughts can take you wherever you need them to go. But like Kentae say, make sure you cultivate them right. Make sure you be careful about the things that's deposited into you. So with these thought vibrations, man, make sure you have great thought vibrations, man. Make sure you doing things that's productive. Make sure you staying optimistic. Make sure when you're in that heated, when you're in that most trying moment, that you step outside of yourself, look back at yourself, and be able to gain some type of composure.
Mm-hmm.
But know your thoughts are things, and know that once you get those thoughts to vibrating at a rate to the point where even now, you can tell the thoughts that was vibrating off me and
Mm-hmm.
Kentae. The chemistry was beautiful here today.
Sure.
And like I said, your thoughts is like into an airplane. When you can see over your limitations in life, when your thoughts can take you just like a GPS can take you where you want to go,
mm-hmm.
then you have got to know yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Then you have got in touch with your potential.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You have got in touch with your ingenuity, your innovation. So I just want us all to have radiant thoughts, man. I want us to get those thought vibrations up, man. You know what I'm saying? So because I want us to be able to look over our limitations. I want us to be able to disdain our failures and show contempt for our failures and
mm-hmm.
be a winner at the end of the day. Let's not give up. Let's keep going. Like Kentae say, he said he wasn't gonna do a show, but he did, the show with all the podcasters we did. And shout out to Kevin Marshall for putting that together.
Mm-hmm.
But it radiated in his thoughts that, man, I'm finna get this done.
Yeah.
So you need to get with the likes of your kind, man. You need to get with people that's similar to you, because at the end of the day, they help to move you forward.
Absolutely.
So it's all about having radiant thoughts, man. Make sure you take care of your mind. Make sure you take care of your body. At the end of the day, your mind is your greatest asset.
Absolutely.
You want to say anything else before we get out of here?
Man, yeah, I do want to say I appreciate you for having me on here, man. I think this is a real good thing. I definitely want to do it again. And I want to say I love your quote that we're better together than separated, because if you don't have a community, man, having a community is the best thing. The only way we're going to grow is if we come together. We can't grow separated, you know what I'm saying? So it's always strength in numbers for sure. So I love that.
There you have it, man. So make sure y'all support Radiant Thoughts, man, every Sunday at 12 o'clock Eastern. Mm-hmm. Man, very, very, very brilliant brother. You know what I'm saying? Very wise brother. So make sure y'all tune in. And thank you guys for tuning in to another edition of Yacht Life Chronicles, where we are better together than separated. Thank you guys for tuning in.